calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me. I'm a man.
Have you communicated with a social media user who goes by the name ThatUmbrellaGuy?
I've had several phone calls with a person who goes by the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. I don't actually know his real name.
I'm a man.
All right. Hey there. Welcome to a Sunday edition of Man Live Streaming Gets Fun, starring the chat and, of course, your friend, That Umbrella Guy. I like this first super chat, by the way. Listen to this. Angel Australia, thanks for the 10. Hey, Tug, can I get a happy birthday sung like Marilyn Monroe to JFK? LOL, happy birthday is fine. Like Marilyn Monroe. I don't think my voice will hit that. Happy birthday. Miss Australia. Happy birthday to you. That's about as low as I can get it there, even with doing that. Oh, that's hilarious though. That was really funny. Hey, happy birthday to you for real, though. I do appreciate that. It was also fun to try to do there. Hey, Igor Ryder, too. Thanks for the 2 there. Blessed. I post a few medical updates. Blessings. I post a few medical updates on locals. I'll have to check those out, though. Hope you are doing great, too. I hope they're great medical updates. And hey, what's up? Rock and Ruin. Thanks for the 100 there. Appreciate that. Chat. Y'all need to chill. Whoop. Freaking YouTube keeps messing up when I do that. Chat, you need to chill. I'm up for another couple hours. Love you too on the tablet, so I cannot at you all in a timely manner. I'm going to eat food now and drink Budweiser. Cheers. Love you all. Indeed. Thank you, man. Is that you know what? We should do something wonderful for that Rock and Ruin one too. We have little comic giveaways when those $100 come in like that from him. It's kind of a tradition. So if you would, we're going to give, we make comics. We should be shipping pretty soon. We're going to print very soon. So it looks like things, my medical thing gave me a little bit, it threw me off about 2 weeks, but it looks like we're right there. So anyway, if you want to win something, just type RNR, Rock and Ruin, in the chat. And in 5 seconds, I'm going to pick somebody. Okay. So just type it as many times as you can. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, and a 2, and a 1, and a 0. All right. Hey, let's see. I don't know the name there. What is it? Natasha James. It took me a minute to read that. Natasha James, hit me up through my email for here. That is at granularheaven@gmail.com. Why the name? Don't remember, but that's not important. If you forget it, just go to my About page on YouTube, hit the business inquiry one, bam, just write me and be like, yo, I won. So, and I'll need an address. And then when we start shipping, and if you don't get one for some reason, because I forget, sometimes I'll do that, just write me. What's up, Carissa? Thanks for the 5 months. Can't wait for pickle juice all over our faces. Lovely, lovely. Love you day. Indeed. Now, today's been interesting because this is the first day that Eliza Bleu has decided to unlock her account. She's back unlocked today. So I just dropped a video on how she was locked down, of course. She's been hiding behind it. And that's because I think she's been doing 2 things. Now, you can actually see it in effect. She's posted quite a bit. She's trying to, a lot of people will do this. They will go through a moment where they're trying to get positive traction. Here, you can actually see this. She started trying to get positive traction. She's following a few people again, but what she did is she locked down her account because she was hemorrhaging followers. What she wants to do is make it look like there was more support for her during that time than there actually was, in my opinion. People will do that all the time, man. They'll lock their stuff down. They'll have a lot of people that way it limits it to a lot of hardcore people. There are people that, like myself, I won't follow somebody typically when I'm criticizing what they're doing, and they take full advantage of that. So they get the hardcore people out there. It has stemmed the tide a little bit, but it is a Sunday too. So, at the same moment, that doesn't really say a lot, but wait just a second. It says she's at 227. She actually has a few extra followers now. Now you can't, when she unlocks too, another thing with her picking up some people will follow just because she unlocked. And they're like, oh, if she does it again, I want to keep up with what's going on. You notice when she locked her count down, though, she did a lot of scrubbing. When I say scrubbing, it's taking away the background information. She wants to get rid of stuff. See, this number is important because it's the hemorrhaging of subs. Now, again, you can lose subs for anything. I lose subs because I make people mad usually. All the subs I've gained off of this on Twitter and YouTube always, man, when you switch something, after the trial, after that coverage, like I said, I expect to lose 30,000 subs because I picked them up because of the trial. It was a mention. So it was people wanting a clown show. And there's a lot of people too that don't believe in due process. They just wanted to, for whatever reason, and it's your prerogative. But this is not just atypical. This is somebody that was in the prime of their stuff. They didn't switch message. They tried not to offend people because their whole goal, my goal isn't internet fame. I don't care. If I wanted fame, I'd turn on the camera and I'd be like, yo, look at me. Instead, I'd adopt talking pickles and dumb shit, This person, all they've wanted in their whole life is fame. So when they turned off stuff, now you can actually see the effect I'm talking about too. And we'll get to the taking money and all that wonderful stuff. But you can actually see this effect on the last post that she put up while she was still locked down. This gives people the false impression that drama or issues are actually over with, and it makes it look like, oh man, poor you, because it puts the hardcore people at the top, like, oh, I can't believe how much hate you're going through. And there's nobody that can comment on it at the time because they couldn't see the posts, you know? I mean, you have quite a few of those. Oh, I love you. I love you always. I can't believe it. Now they're getting some blowback. Oh, your work is incredibly admirable. It's a sign of a sick world that that we live in, that people are trying to poke holes in your life story. Oh my God, it's a sign of a sick world. It's a sign of a sick world when you use survivors as clout. Let me just say that, by the way. But I mean, that was the whole plan. Lock your stuff down. You don't get blowback, Hey, what's up, Fallen Hero? Thanks for the 10 there. Hey, Tug, here's my ice cream money for your kids. Thank you. Appreciate that. They'll appreciate it more too. Nick VMZ, thanks for the 5. Her deleted tweets are most likely archived. Well, here's the question. Most people, when the deletions are going on, I mean, that gives you an idea. Now, I'll show you the other part of damage control, and then we'll move into what I want to talk about too. But the other part of damage control, give me 1 minute, is when you have it locked down, yes, those tweets are probably archived. What were they, though? They're probably things that weren't new or even remotely new. They're probably things that are embarrassing and nobody's noticed, and we're talking about quite a few of them, too. Remember, this is a minimum number. What I mean by that is this. Some people didn't understand this when I've talked about it. So, you see this number 2 here. That's -2. That means at least 2 tweets disappeared, right? But here's the thing. If you put up 2 tweets that day and you have a -2, that doesn't mean you deleted 2 tweets. That means that you actually deleted 4 tweets. So we don't know for sure how many numbers were on there. The only time we ever know for sure is when somebody is banned. That way we get a appropriate measure, but we do know that there is a scrubbing attempt here. And we're not talking about like one, I'll take down one periodically, like a live stream. I might take down a live stream notice or something, or sometimes like Twitter messes up and it puts half a DM, like I'm like, hey, I'm watching blah, 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 that might be a DM, half a DM. So, I mean, 1 or 2, okay, 18, no, that's concerted. Somebody's trying to scrub. And it's not a scrub attempt. Like for me, every few months, like about every 6 or 7 months, I scrub almost all my Twitter account. I do. I scrub it all. Like, because when you encounter idiots like Eliza Blue's weirdos, they'll start false flagging everything. You've seen it. Well, they do that to Twitter too. They'll try to pick off stuff. They'll go in, they'll mass report it and see if they can get it taken down. And it's worked. Twitter's on their side, so why wouldn't it work? So periodically, I do scrub stuff, because the rules, they change all the time on these platforms. And what was acceptable yesterday may not be acceptable today. But 18, that's not a scrubbing attempt or cleaning off your Twitter. That's hiding 18 tweets. I mean, this is an account that showcases, let me see, it'll tell at the top here. Yeah, let's see. This is an account with 82,000 tweets. So, I mean, this is somebody who has kept everything. So, yeah, they're too vain to clear it. Some people are way too vain to actually clear off their Twitters. Twitter, it's a stupid account. Who cares? I mean, if you can make an archive if you had pictures or something that you wanted to keep. But everything else, who cares what you said 5 years ago? Hey, what's up, Rock and Ruin? Thanks for 5. Good night, Chad. Congrats to the winner. Love you all. Sorry. Just want to eat food and snuggle in my body pillow. Ooh, yeah, fun times. You have a good one, man, for real. And Mark, thanks for the 5. Hey, Tug, I'm going to give you what I pay on my BBC TV license because I trust Boozy more than I trust the BBC News reporting. Actually, the BBC News is pretty horrible on this stuff. It's been interesting to watch the reporting on this stuff too. There's only been a couple of outlets that have even managed to touch it. I was surprised by The Hill. I'm sure most of you have probably seen The Hill coverage. If not, hey, let's just turn it on. Who cares? I haven't put it on any kind of archive. I wonder if they'll ever delete it. So I'm actually going to pull that up. Yeah, The Hill. I mean, it shocked me not that they covered it because it's got Elon Musk tied to it. It shocked me what they said. So they even brought up the fact that, whoa, there's something. Well, one of them did. The other one is obviously a listening believer. I want to put this on here too. Let's do this real quick. I haven't gone over this in a live stream, so I think it's worth going over. It reminded me last night of Flashcast was a good broadcast. If you didn't see it, it was good. You missed out on a really good one there. But listen to this here.
Sex trafficking activist Eliza Bleu from her interviews with popular right-wing figures, including Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro, Dr. Drew Pinsky, Michael Malice. You also might know Bleu through her interactions with Elon Musk and their apparent collaboration in the Twitter CEO's push to remove child pornography and other illicit content from the platform.
That annoys me, by the way. His push to remove, no, that's a talking point. That is a talking point. If they really wanted to do that, they could make a very concerted effort. You don't need quote unquote activism circles or any other bullshit. What you need people that are willing to sniff this shit out and find it and eradicate it. You don't need clout seekers. You don't need people hunting for headlines. You need people that will hunt down the hashtags that they're using, hunt down the accounts, and absolutely obliterate them. You declare open season on child predators on Twitter, saying that you absolutely want to destroy it. You use the tools to eradicate links on your side, and again, you declare open season. You have you assign a real team to it for 1 month, and you tell users, hey, everything you report, we will review. Everything. I don't care what comes in. I'm telling you, in 1 month, you will potentially not eradicate, but you'll eliminate so many of the hashtags. You'll eliminate so many of the things used for trafficking. This shit, it's just headlines. So, and with Eliza Bleu getting on it, yeah, that was just.
However, both Bleu and Musk have recently found themselves in the middle of a censorship controversy involving embarrassing photos of Bleu's past, which some people say discredit her alleged history as a sex abuse survivor. Multiple accounts who posted these photographs have been temporarily suspended.
That's actually not the point either. It didn't say it discredited. The question was, how does that link into your past? There was never a question of, you can't be two things. The original question asked by Brittany Venti was, how does this relate to your tale? Like, and she gave her an out. I mean, she did. She was like, were you coerced into it? Et cetera, et cetera. So it's a question. And a Brittany Venti, you have to understand, like, her stance on pornography is extreme in the point that it's like almost zero tolerance on it, because she believes that it's an open gate to trafficking and more. So again, you could have had a policy stance, a life stance. You could have had a million things, but the banning, that question led to a banning. That banning led to threats. Those threats led to more bannings, more optics on it. More people were pointing out, like, hey, this is really jacked up. And it just snowballed from there.
From the site, calling into question about Musk's claims to favor free speech on the platform.
Now, two former friends of Eliza Bleu claim that she is exaggerating her experiences for attention and clout, telling the Daily Beast, quote, it's making a lot of her old friends around.
Isn't it crazy? That story only came out like 4 days ago. It feels like a million years ago, because there's been so much on this topic too. Hey, Tug, what's up, Britt? Hope you don't forget that I won last time. Comic giveaway. No. And again, if I, for some reason, miss a person, like you don't get some, just write me. Be like, yo. I mean, it's in my email. I don't delete my email. So that's why writing me is important. I favorite and keep them, but just in some weird world, if I forgot that, it would be in there. I could just search your email and I'd have like where you wrote me again. So anyway.
Here really angry, said Carly Wenzel, who claims to have known Bleu for 2 decades, adding that she's completely lying. Robbie, you've been keeping up with this.
Now, the lady talking doesn't have any idea what's going on with this story. In fact, she wants to play the devil's advocate at first, except the problem in that is that she goes with the same talking points that all of these idiots, they try to go with when they do this. Hey, what's up, Nick B, EMZ? Thanks for the 2 there. Imagine Eliza is actually part of the trafficking. Oh, it's, that was one of the statements when you look at the reporting from the Daily Beast, one of the things that was brought up in there is that she tried to get her friend into escort servicing. Now, Eliza Bleu has called that kind of stuff. If you have a pimp, what's the difference between a friend getting you into something, potentially profiteering off of you, and somebody pimping you out? Again, there's different manipulation methods. Ask Eliza Bleu. That's the question. Because again, maybe she, when you go through that, yeah, very much sounded like a lot of her descriptions of trafficking, didn't it? What's up, Mike? Thanks for the 10 there, by the way. Hey, Tug, I just want to send you an invite to come hang out with us on the Mike stand, weekend edition. When you're done here, I hope you'll consider joining us. I emailed a few minutes ago. Did you get it? I haven't checked. I'll look at it in a few minutes, though. I'll consider it. It just depends. We'll see. Thank you, buddy. CKCC Chris, thanks for the 100 too. I'll start after this. I've been going hard at transforming her supporters into some of her most avid critics. Nothing better than watching them slowly realize the truth. At least 10 today so far. Slowly but surely getting them informed. Your and other creators' info is a must for this. Yeah, well, that's, that's really the point in all of this. Is just questions. I mean, that's the crazy thing, isn't it? When you're talking about it, that's the word. She uses the word enemies or haters, critics. Man, people are just like, yo, because again, her fallback has been over and over again. If my story was fake, what damage did I do? Well, your damage is done. You've done plenty. If it's fake, you've done plenty. Thank you for that too.
A lot more than I have. Help me understand what's going on here.
So there's a lot going on. And I would not just kind of, without any pushback, except reporting from the Daily Beast. I've had a lot of issues with their reporting in the past, but here they're talking about things.
That's very true. They've called me, I don't know how many times. They've done at least, I can think of a couple of hit pieces. I've been called a Yahtzee and all kinds of other things by their terrible reporting. But there are problems in their reporting too, just like with the Hill here. They make it political. They lie about when the kickoff happens, but about 85% of that is actually pretty good. And they found other sources to go to as well.
I have observed as well in the Twitter sphere, there's a lot of frustration with this person right now, Eliza Bleu, including from what I would describe as sympathetic or former allies. So she portrays herself as an activist against sex trafficking and pedophilia, and she has claimed that she has had her own mysterious past of being sex trafficked, being forced to perform sexual abuse, that kind of thing.
Now look at the co-host here. She's just looking for a way to be like, but listen and believe. And she'll do that at first until it kind of registers, wait a minute, Elon.
And she somehow did get Elon Musk's attention. She's been interviewed on a number of right of center places, and she tweets a lot, and she drew Elon's attention and was, I think, very informally, like where you can see it on Twitter, advising him on what accounts are bad, confront sex trafficking on the platform, confront pedophilia on the platform. Mm-hmm. I think she was very instrumental in calling his attention to Yoel Roth, that former Twitter content moderator.
Mm-hmm. That's not true. Actually, she was very instrumental in. So Yoel Roth quit Twitter. He was the former Trust and Safety. He just quit, and Elon Musk was pissed about it. So when he found his silver bullet, as it were, he tried to slay that beast. He went after them and said that they were advocating for underage sex. And it's very interesting that Eliza Bleu was involved in that, considering Eliza Bleu herself has a video floating around where she's asked about, 13, 14, 15-year-olds having sex with adults. And she seemingly advocates for it. She says, in her utopia, this, that, and the other, she lays down the foundation of how that could actually be okay. 13-year-old, again. You know, if you're going to burn down Yule Roth for the same thing, it says plenty, doesn't it?
Who had written something that was kind of provocative in the past about hookup apps or gay hookup apps and the ages of the people on it. And she I think, drew attention to the fact that a lot of people might have had issues with that. I don't like how that was characterized, and I think it was kind of unfair to him, but she was involved in all that.
Of course you didn't.
Fast forward to now, a lot of some independent accounts have drawn attention to her, including Michael Tracy, who's an independent journalist whose work is often quite good, as well as Katie Herzog, co-host of this Blocked and Reported podcast with Jesse Singal. I cite them all the time. They're really good, objective reporters. They're very thorough. Look, there are a lot of questions about whether she was actually a victim of sexual trafficking.
Why is it? I'm struggling to understand why this is relevant and why, like, obviously anybody misrepresenting their past, okay, but her being an advocate against, child pornography, pedophilia, whatever, sex trafficking seems.
I think she's done a lot of clout chasing on the.
See, again, you can see this would typically this would be the argument that would undo asking these types of questions. In fact, this is why I believe one side of our media won't talk about this stuff at all, because they're afraid to go up against the narrative of listen and believe. They're terrified of it. None of them would cover it if it weren't for that.
Base of I'm a victim, and then people were finding and circulating videos of her that were very softcore, inappropriate, kind of skimpy outfits.
And which
type
way
thing.
are those? How's that supposed to cut?
That she was. I believe, I'm being very careful with my words. I believe the accusation is that she was not sex trafficked. She was involved in kind of cam type stuff.
No, freaking hell, man. They should get people that could say this better. The accusation, the question that came up was, here's your timeline for what's going on. First of all, it doesn't fit with this other stuff. You were in booty shaker videos and all of that. You were clout chasing and more, while you said that you were out there being trafficked. Your timeline doesn't work. What is it? Like what's going on here? Because and again, she has her own statements saying, I was by myself. I'm the one who made this stuff happen. There was no one else that forced her into it or anything. She had no pimp. There was no coercion, none of that stuff. It was her on her own, chasing clout, and it undermines her own story. My God, how hard is it to freaking understand that, man? Anyway.
Performing type stuff. She was not abducted, and she was not imprisoned or held against her will.
Are those mutually exclusive? I mean, isn't the whole conversation around Andrew Tate?
See, again, this person, their whole point here, they're playing the. They're here to deflect away. This is why we can't have conversations like this with the mainstream media. And they can all go to hell for all I'm concerned, because most of them are dishonest. They've loaded the deck. They've made it where we can't call out the poison that happens with false accusations. You saw what they did with false accusations. They not only tried to bury the idea that somebody lost in a courtroom, but they tried to put a dagger in the person that won. I mean, that's insane. A person that themselves was saying, yo, that person actually abused me.
Is that he's being accused of inducing women to perform on camera so that he can profit off of their products.
So she has friends of hers from that time period that she claims she was a sex trafficking victim are interviewed in that Daily Beast piece saying she was never a victim of sex trafficking. And she was involved in some sketchy things.
And we credit what those friends say. We're not worried at all about I mean, I guess you are saying that you're worried. You're not taking this at face value. There could be some conflict of interest there, an interest in them being less famous or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just such an odd thing.
She's also trying to.
It's such an odd thing to use to prominence. Why? In this day and age, the Me Too movement was so powerful. It made the person of the year was that movement and the people that were associated with the face of it. Why is it so hard to believe that someone would use that? use people's horrific experience. It's become a badge of clout for some people that didn't live it. The people who live it wear the scars of it. The people who fake it, they wear the clout from it. There's a very, very big difference. And fucking people like this need to get that sorted in their brain because, it makes me mad. And it should piss them off when people do this kind of stuff. If they truly cared about activism, truly cared about any of these subjects, but they don't, man. They don't. What's up, Kaz, by the way? Thanks for the 2 months. Hey, Tug, appreciate all you do. Bringing the truth to light. Glad you and your mods everybody having a good one. I appreciate that for sure. Wizard Brain, hi. Hey there, returned. Hi indeed. How you doing? Dreadnought, thanks for the 5. A great news headline for Eliza would be deranged cloud goblin declares war on Twitter users, claims sharing pictures amounts to trafficking. Hashtag nut job. That would actually cover it. And Robert, thanks for the 5. Could you get a copy of her fanfic of her and MCR and My Chemical Romance and do a dramatic read with Camelot, Nick, and Chrissy? Oh my God, that would be pretty funny. Maybe we'll see how this goes. I'll tell you, if it dies fast, then it won't be. I don't think this will die soon. There's a few elements that'll go into it. If it doesn't, though, you could probably have a lot of fun, like on a Flashcast. Flashcast last night was fun. It had 6,000 people watching, and you could have definitely done a dramatic read, and that freaking fanfic of hers is creepy. So yeah, that might be pretty funny.
Suppress. So she has gotten, and this is the censorship aspect, so people asking questions about this, sharing some of those photos, so she's saying those photos were taken of her non-consensually, but there's no evidence of that. It seems pretty clear, like that was just her thing previously.
He's terrible at this. The quote-unquote non-consensual photographs came from a YouTube video, a rap video that she was part of. Her quote-unquote non-consensual items. There was no consensual photograph. They were screenshots from a rap video that she wanted. She admitted to. Man, this guy's terrible at saying this stuff, What's up, Eagle Rider? Thanks for doing. You missed 2 of my Subarus, but I have to comment. The likelihood of escaping trafficking without police is microscopic. It's people like her that make victims less heard, make us less believed. Indeed. Sorry about missing those. I need to scan at the end. I watch it on my phone is what the problem is. So it only gives me like a little bit of area. I'd watch them on the screen, but it's the same reason you get a 720p image because the internet's out. Even in a better area than I used to live, man. You strain too much on that and we end up with robot. That's why I robot sometimes.
And she has gotten Elon to ban accounts calling attention to that, saying, well, wait a minute, you said this is not consensual, but this was posted on YouTube for a long time under a clear, like it couldn't have been posted if it was not consensual. And she's getting those people banned.
It's like he's scared
So what
to
do
say
we know
anything
about her claims of sex trafficking? What has she specifically said happened to her?
So she didn't say specifically what happened to her.
Okay, so because I'm reading an article, I was just trying to Google it real quick, and this one article says, Eliza was sex trafficked for 9 years total before gaining the courage to attempt to escape one night from her apartment. But it doesn't go into any detail. So has she in fact said, I was sex trafficked, I was, held hostage in this building for this number of time by these people, and has she described it anyway, or has she alluded to being kind of a victim of sexual exploitation? And maybe like not corrected the public when they read more into it?
I think it's more the latter, yes.
Why don't you freaking read the Daily Beast article that you're talking about? Holy shit, they have timelines in it. It's got a couple, but they leave out some of it. But still, read that. Man, a little. What is wrong with that? That's why nobody likes journalists. Even the people that cover everything. Like a Yellow Flash is a catch-all for so many things because he enjoys those topics, for example, right? He knows the background to them. If he doesn't, he'll ask people about something, put in some pieces. He may not have every single piece like this. When you're talking about it, you can't keep up with every single piece, but he does like 1,000,000% better job than morons here that are supposedly quote unquote professional journalists. It just freaking boggles the mind, man.
Oh gosh, the whole thing is so wishy-washy.
Yeah, but this is someone, and the reason we're talking about it, this is someone who has Elon Musk's ear and who has been able to get, at her personal discretion, accounts banned, including for scrutinizing her. She's had a lot of input on how Twitter has handled various issues. She has his attention.
So this is.
I don't think she's used her power and influence for good, and I don't think she's honest about what happened in her background.
Right. So this is kind of being framed as a critique of Eliza Bleu, but it's irrelevant. It's really a critique of this pattern of behavior from Elon Musk of following random acquaintances.
It's a critique of Eliza Bleu, and it's a critique of Twitter and Elon Musk's response to the critique of Eliza Bleu. Jeez, man, like I said, you have to strip away the layers of these people. They irritate me because they want to take away, they detract from the conversation, you know? Dreadnought, thanks for the 2. Rising, more like some right. Exactly. Oh, these people, man, I tell you. Journalists, these 2 journalists are totally, even the one that's informed, he can't convey his thoughts. You know, it's also a byproduct of trying to shove a lot of information into 10 minutes. You can do a analysis, but you can't. If I did an overview, it would take me more than 10 minutes to do if I wanted to do it correctly.
Is from Twitter and using their advice to design Twitter policy as opposed to something that's more objective and substantive.
Yeah. So right now, a lot of people who like Elon Musk, who are on board with new Twitter, are calling her out and trying to get him to realize that this was not a good faith person. This is in fact a grifter, which I think is very likely to be the case.
Yeah,
she's not acquitted herself well in this entire debate.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can make moral judgments about a person on Twitter misrepresenting themselves, but it does seem to me to be the onus is on the person who would design a platform policy based on somebody's representation on an app. Is she who she says she? Do we know like her real name? Is she kind of a persona? Is she like a real?
It's a
real person.
It's not her real name. No.
I mean, this is so thorny. I mean,
you notice we didn't bring in the political connection. You'd figure they'd be all over that right then. They'd been like, yeah, her real name, it's Eliza Morthland, you know, connected politically. You would think they would want to be all over that too. Lack of research. I mean, the guy at least is bringing awareness to it. But my God, hey, Pixie Dog, thanks for the 5 there. Probably an AH supporter apologist too. Sounds like one waving her "Believe Me" banner. Yep, you can hear that here.
Kinds of things. I don't even know. I mean, it's not that I'm trying to let her off the hook for her misrepresentation, but it's like we wouldn't even care about any of this if it weren't for the fact that one of the most powerful, richest men in the world is using her as a sounding board.
Well, I mean, I would care a little, as I've said, and I brought my colleague at Reason, Elizabeth Nolan Brown, on to talk about sex trafficking and how that term has really been weaponized by law enforcement in all sorts of very bad ways. And people who scaremonger about the prevalence of sex trafficking, especially in the U.S. context, are often using junk statistics and are really just marshaling more law enforcement against consensual prostitution or things of that nature. They're never actually arresting sex traffickers. People have this idea that, you know,
I hate people who discount the disappearance. You know, and you want to see the prevalence of these kind of problems. You really want to see it? Go to Walmart. Go to Walmart and look on the missing kids boards. Then go to the site that they talk about and go look at that. We have a real problem. So for people to be like, what he's trying to say is we don't ever arrest the traffickers. We arrest prostitutes and more. We arrest the lower rung. And that is a byproduct of just lazy police efforts that have always existed, because it actually takes, we've seen that in drug trafficking and every other thing. It's not just one specific type of crime that happens in. But to dismiss the idea that it exists, that it's some kind of moral panic, is fucking outrageous.
White vans drive around abducting people and chaining them and making them perform sex for money, and that in all of these stings that law enforcement does, always inevitably they end up arresting women, not the dudes, case, but right? The women. You know, and but she gives.
They also pretended that, number one, like his statements, there aren't male prostitutes, people that males are being sex trafficked, which does happen as well, and that women are sex traffickers, which we saw Maxwell. Yeah, they're not arresting the dudes. Yeah, there's a lot of, it's not taking advantage and doing horrible things to your fellow human being is not a one-sided thing.
Giving voice to that kind of mindset.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, do you have a sense of what? Is it just that the fans of Elon Musk are worried about how her reputational damage is going to negatively affect Elon?
Oh my God, man. Oh yeah, people are getting banned there. Oh, well, are they worried about Elon Musk? No, fuck. People are like, hey, you promised free speech and you're shutting it down because of this one person? You're using the same tools and the Twitter files? My God, a modicum of research. Oh, it kills my brain cells. Eagle Rider, thanks. Fine. Trafficking is underreported. Yes. On the reservations, it's an epidemic. Yes. In fact, one show that I've liked because of the image that it provides, it's brought this up. I like this show, Yellowstone. I don't know if people have watched that, but I like this show, Yellowstone. It's not about that, but they bring up reservation life and they show you, there are kidnapping, and it's insane because of the level of abuse that's there. It's mind-boggling. Look at the freaking chasing horse. We even have our own helping do it. Yeah, again, it's frustrating the way that they frame that conversation.
Musk's reputational damage, but she was a popular person before this, right? She wouldn't have access to go on Tim Pool and do all of these other kinds of things.
Yeah, I think people just caught on to her grift.
No, she got on Tim Pool because she used her platform with Elon Musk that pretty much he'd given her to say, hey, Andrew Tate. She used one of the biggest names at that time, and when she did that, it got her a lot of attention. I'm representing the victims in the Andrew Tate in the Andrew Tate investigation. I guess. Come on, give me a second. I had a video come on. I don't know if you could hear that. It sounded crazy in my ears. But anyway, let's finish this off. I won't interrupt it for a minute.
And it's conservatives that have been interested in her and platforming her.
Yeah, she's been. I mean, depends how you describe these. Tim Pool, Michael Malice. She may or may not have been on Rogan. I can't quite remember. I think so. I don't know for sure.
It's fascinating to me.
Let me find that out while I have
this ideological commitment to, or this investment in this idea of hunting out pedophiles and groomers, and how this has become
I can't tell whether she's
on the right.
She was not.
It's terrible. That's that. It's so strange to me, this ideological commitment to hunting out pedophiles and groomers. What the fuck is the problem with that? Well, where's the problem in that? You don't understand why people might want to do that, especially like people like myself. First of all, I've got kids. I don't want freaking predators anywhere near. I don't want society to uplift them. And on top of that, I've worked with kids, and I know what kind of monsters are out there. These people, man. Meredith, I had to stop. No, Meredith, thanks for the vibe. I hear the global crime statistics find the majority of people arrested and convicted for trafficking are women. I've not researched that. That's interesting. I'll have to look that up. Sue, thanks for the 10 there. You're amazing. Thanks for all you do. Hey, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Like I said, this is just anyway, finish it.
Joe Rogan. It's not.
What's on Joe Rogan?
Again, I think there is a reason to talk about her, because it's not just to call out she's not some random person. She's someone who had Elon Musk's ear on this issue. And there are very legitimate questions about her background that I think it's good that people in this orbit of conservative, or whatever you want to describe them, online people, are calling out a bad actor in their midst. I think that's to be commended, actually. Someone who's having a policy impact.
And has Musk responded yet? Because he's very responsive on Twitter.
I don't know.
I saw him, kind of jump on and respond to this claim that if you lock your account, the algorithm will favor you again. He's notably responsive. So perhaps there's an interesting aspect of this if he's taken a longer time to kind of push back against the critiques that have been going on here. So I'm sure you'll keep us updated, Robbie.
Yeah, he's responded. He responded with trust and safety. So anyway, I want to show you something else that I thought was really funny, and then we'll play the taking money thing. I want to show you something funny there. Hey, Rocket Ruin, thanks for 10. Have to leave. Can't listen to this. Boys are victims too. Indeed. Men, boys. I mean, we live in a society that wants to pretend that men cannot be victimized. That's why, like I said, some people just wanted a Hollywood trial before. They don't actually believe. They believe in listen and believe, but they don't believe in the prevalence of all people can be victimizers and all people can be victims. Anyone. It's an individual issue. And they also don't believe in, it's bizarre. People should learn the lessons, and they don't in any of this stuff. So many people don't. Now, there was a funny thing that happened with this, and I didn't catch it. I actually found out about this last night. Okay, this is actually very funny. So you see this post right here, right? Oh, hey, I forgot. Rock and Ruin, thanks. I forgot the end of that tug. Cheers. I'm literally trying not to cry right now. These people are such scumbags. That's why I'm glad that we can have conversations and we can take a wrecking ball to this insanity. Okay, so there was this clip. I'm not going to play the clip, but I want to point something out. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers pointed this out last night, and I thought this was pretty funny because you'll notice that, okay, this discussion right here. Now, the guy here, look, it's like, I'm completely shocked to discover Eliza and Thaddeus and Predator Fred Durst. And if you look at the guy, he does look like Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit, right? It really does. Well, Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit actually replied to this because it was like Fred Durst, like the Fred Durst, he did it all for the nookie, which is creepy when you think about this conversation. Fred Durst was like, that sure as fuck isn't me. No, that's very disturbing. I just thought that was pretty funny. Fred Durst managed to get it. He was like, no, hell to the no, that ain't me. Look at Beyond. Thanks for the 2 months. Thugs there. Appreciate that. It doesn't have a statement, but I appreciate it. I just love that Fred Durst was like that. He was like, hell no, because it was funny. I mean, when I looked at that at first, I didn't think much about it. The guy looks a bit like Fred Durst, but he didn't look like, I've seen Fred Durst, like the Limp Bizkit singer. I've seen him decently recently, in the last couple of years. And the guy has enough of a look that you could laugh about it. Maybe this guy's name is Fred Durst, but he does look a bit like Fred Durst. So I was like, oh my God. But yeah, Limp Bizkit, he was like, I ain't playing that. You ain't pinning that on me. Now, here's something. You want to see Eliza Bleu steal some money from somebody. This is actually quite, I think, disturbing. So there's an interview with Hotep Jesus. All right. And I actually had not watched this before, but watch what she does in this interview, which is really messed up. Let me link this in here. Give me a minute. And this is absolutely messed up, the way that she does this. Check this out here. Now, it's going to come up in about 2 minutes. I just want to let her build into it because it's well worth the wait just to hear how it comes up. Okay. So it's at 48 something.
That's why I can be friends with jerks like you. And it's like cool because like I still see everybody as being good. So he's like, delete.
Just acting up.
You love it, bro. It's better than sitting here all crying. Like, I'm sure the people are probably like, thank God we're not crying our way through this. But yeah, no, I was groomed at age 15 at a concert. I was sexually assaulted by the person that trafficked me later on at age 16 in Los Angeles. And I was offered a bogus modeling deal in Los Angeles. People said they wanted to make me a star, and I believed them. So because I was homeschooled, I was able to move out of the home very early. And I moved.
Because I was homeschooled, I was able to move out early. What? It's interesting. I wonder how her politician daddy feels about. Again, he supposedly drove her to like the city and dropped her off and all of that, and yet, I mean, she's got family support and all of these other things. I wonder how her dad feels about this connection of his name and him basically taking her to trafficking, by the way. Hey, what's up, Justin Moore? Thanks for the 5. Authoritarianism is all about grabbing the lowest fruit. Indeed. Oh, check this out. So, I mean, she's so mean to him.
To Los Angeles, and I was almost trafficked immediately. I was sex trafficked immediately. They were really good at grooming. Grooming is that pregame sort of thing where they're trying to fill you out. And because I was sort of vulnerable, because I thought everybody was a good person, I was a perfect target. And I was sex trafficked. And then I got out of the life, which was awesome. But unfortunately, like a lot of survivors, because that initial trauma was there, I went back and I had a heck of a time getting out. The second time getting out was pretty much life or death. And to be honest, I'm so grateful every day, Hodep. Like literally the fact that I'm alive, like literally, I know this is going to sound crazy or like corny or whatever, but literally every day I'm like, I can't believe I'm alive. Literally, like, I'm like literally I get so excited that I'm alive that like, I want to drop on my knees just out of gratitude. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty much the worst. It was exactly what you think it would be. I don't like to go into too much detail because, the worst days of my life are really for people's entertainment, especially when Hotep Jesus ain't even chipping into the Eliza fund with them super chats.
Now, you notice this is where it starts. My trauma's not about you, especially since you're not paying me live. Hey, you're not going to chip me into now. I'll say this too. Typically when people come on, you don't pay them for that. That's not like maybe some giant show does that, but that's not how it works. And she was like live. Well, my trafficking story ain't free. That's what she just said there. My trafficking story. And it gets worse. I mean, we'll get how this goes.
But,
I'm going to get abused through this whole interview.
This is trafficking right here. Hope that you
see. Now she said this is trafficking right here. Now what's funny about that? Again, the jokes, right? But remember what she's defined trafficking as, and she just told you about how she was trafficked. Like that's a weird segue, isn't it? I just told you about the most horrific thing in my life. I'm gonna joke about you trafficking me right now. That's just strange, isn't it?
He's about to rake in on these super chats and give Eliza $0.
That's not true.
All right. I'll send over I'll text you my cash app. Cash app $ELIZABLEU. He's like
50% of proceeds tonight go to Eliza Bleu. You send 50% of all super chats will go to Eliza Bleu tonight to help human trafficking victims.
Now this is the real prize on it. Okay. He's saying he's donating to help out traffic victims. He thinks, hey, organizational, all right. I'm going to help out people because she's come on as an advocate to help out with those issues, right? Oh no. Oh no, that's not it.
And to raise awareness.
the only human trafficking victim that's going to help is me, and I'm a human trafficking survivor. But let me tell you what it can help by.
So you notice that the only person that this is going to help out, it ain't going to be like 400 people out here. We're not going to help out trafficking survivors, plural. The only person that this is going to enrich is me. I mean, what the fuck? That's messed up, man. So, I mean, she just made it clear right there. Hey, my story ain't for free. By the way, I'm going to browbeat you live. I'm going to say you're a trafficker if you don't pay me. I take that very seriously, by the way, because I saw the way, again, that she framed the Andrew Tate thing. Again, I'm not a defender of Andrew Tate's. I mean, he's made it very clear that he uses and manipulates people. He's made it very clear. But his own words. I mean, hell, he there's a lot out there that he himself said. But in her statement, she said anyone that defends him, again, she said, well, whataboutism comes up. Like people will bring up Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, what about Jeffrey Epstein? And then proceeds to say, maybe we should treat his defenders like the Epstein clients. We should make a big, long list of these folks because, I mean, how many of your favorite influencers have been out there that have done handshakes with this person and on? How many of them were doing horrible things like the Epstein clients were doing? And that is false accusation. And that I take that serious. When somebody toys with the idea of false accusations, that's fucked up to me. Hey, I'll falsely accuse you of being a trafficker. And there are people in that position. They're shaking you down live. Holy shit. I mean, this is a shakedown here. And this is a one person centered. So she tells you, what do you get with that for me though?
Number one, I don't have internet at home. Number two, I wasn't set up for this year, so I don't have a computer at home. Hotep Jesus knows this. Number three, I borrowed this beautiful light that's giving me this look from my barber.
Wow.
So help your girl out. I was not set up for this year. I was not planning on being a public survivor, but if you want me to be a content creator and keep doing interviews like I am today with Hotep Jesus and the other interviews I have coming up, and if you want me to be good, help a sister out, help me out.
I mean, that's messed up. That's messed up. Again, the way that it's framed is very messed up. If you better do this or else. If people, this isn't somebody again going out and saying, "Hey, I need this, that, or the other." Again, that was a public shakedown there. That's stealing money from somebody. And it's also, again, Hotep Jesus thought that he was giving money to survivors. He announced the amount of money that he was going to give to survivors. And she was like, no, that money's coming to me. So he thought he was giving it to charity. But the only charity he was giving it to was her. I thought that was messed up, Yes, thanks for the 20 there. Bad actors that grant access to other bad actors, the vulnerable populations. Keep fighting the good fight, Tug. Yeah, I like here, people like Hotep Jesus, they weren't doing a bad thing here either. They weren't doing a bad thing at all because Hotep Jesus interviewed somebody, wanted to talk about their story. When he did, he tried to give money and donate it to survivor groups when he was browbeaten live. Again, he tried to help promote a positive message. The problem is, and this is the issue that you run into time and again, we've seen this with many a public monster, is that they'll take that and they'll poison the well with it because they make it, again, you're not giving money to survivors, you're giving money to them. And that's again, when you put all this stuff together, it really does look like a warning sign, doesn't it? What's up, Justin Mark? Thanks for the 5. I truly hope that criminal charges twit. DNS spoke about Blue fraud charges. Yeah, we'll see. Here's a thing. I'm curious. So she's threatened litigation. And there are people out there. I did a video on this today, but Twitter Trust and Safety did back up the idea that there is a litigation coming. They did. Now, I don't know who that means, but I did find it fascinating that threat that came from, before I say that though, okay, You saw that message that was just put there with Hotep Jesus. I think this is interesting to add before I go to this part too. Don't you find that message plus this fascinating? If you add those two together. And this is Eliza Blue's own statements. If you grift financially off of victims and survivors, you're a predator. Oh, hey, I want to give money to survivors, plural. I'm going to give half of my money proceeds to help them out. No. You're helping me. That would be you. Isn't that grifting? Isn't that how that works? I mean, isn't that what, like, if somebody else did this and Blue saw it, what do you think their public statements would look like? If it was somebody on another side of a political spectrum or somebody that could be used as clout, how do you think the conversation would go? So I find that fascinating, the duality of these kind of statements, because the very thing that she's, like I said, I don't hate on people for getting their money on either, I mean, hey, I get my money on. I have absolutely, we are a for-profit freaking thing, just like any other thing. I mean, we pay taxes. We're a business here. But what she did there, if somebody was like, yo, today's money you're having on a survivor and we're going to give money to charity, I wouldn't have gave her money. I would have sent it to a fucking charity. I would have done it. I would have done it live just to be to make that point. I'd be like, no. Oh, you had to borrow your light from your barber? Is that what you said? I'm broke. I thought you were turning down people for $150,000 for sex and, all of this other stuff. I mean, again, yeah. I also never understood that too. If you're a human traffickers where they saw you as such a marketable, bankable commodity, and you're doing interviews saying that, first of all, I don't understand how she said that she was traded to a rich guy in the hills. He traded her back to traffickers, and they basically, somehow, some way, she gets away. If she was marketable enough that people would pay $150,000 to have sex with her, nobody would ever let her go. They're not running a charity either. They're monsters. They're monsters that use humans. They don't talk about news. They don't talk about stuff. They market in humans. They don't care if you're having a bad day, you didn't underfed. They don't give a shit what's going on. You're human cattle to them. That's the thing. They don't look at you in any way. She was saying I was too difficult when I was there with this one person. Then they would have made you less difficult. That's just the reality of it. That's what, again, they break people like you break steers. It's a horrible thing that happens. But again, that's the reality of it. You don't just get to walk away. If you do, then that's the first human traffickers that trafficking with a conscience, right? Oh, it's too much trouble to get into this marketing. But like I was saying, so with litigation, again, I think this is worth bringing up because of when it happened, how it was aimed. At first, when I was looking through all of this stuff, at first I thought, well, maybe this is about World Star Hip Hop, right? Litigation, they're claiming, is going there. The only thing that I thought was strange about that, again, they were talking about the removal of content from Twitter at first. That's how Ella Irwin got into that, and then, follows this up after there have been more and more bans on the same day the privacy complaints flow in. So you have dozens of privacy complaints flow in, hit multiple channels. Again, they haven't been struck. They haven't had any videos taken down yet. That's not how that particular flow works. But on the same day that happens, there's a conversation. Just scooting over it here. I'm going to go through it fast. So, could you please update us on what's going on with the Eliza stuff? There seems to have reached levels of corruption and platform manipulation. Is Brittany Venti, Yellow Flash, and others? They're still locked out. Receipts have been provided there. I think there's some clarification. It should be from the team, from an outside perspective. It does look like some dynamics shown in the Twitter files are still at play. Could be wrong, but this whole ordeal with Eliza Bleu has hurt trust from many users. with some canceling their blue in protest. And she's like, yeah, I understand there. I understand. The challenge here is that we can't discuss the specifics of a legal action or a criminal case, no matter how curious people are or what assumptions are made about the reasons for our actions. So again, they tell you legal case, legal criminal case. Now, who are you going to bring a criminal case against, by the way? Who are you going to try to get on lockdown for that? We haven't heard a damn thing about that. And again, this has gone well beyond anything you could attach to that early thing. Here's another thing that bothers me with stuff like this too. Eliza Bleu has continued keeping this thing going. But if it were to not have new, oh man, look at this, what's found, then the reality is that dozens of people ate shit over this. For what? For what? This person, they got exposed, sure, but there's a fight that's still going on. Twitter has an answer. They pretend that there's litigation coming. You don't get an answer, though. You don't deserve to know why this stuff happened. I mean, hey, you should just listen. Believe them, too, that it's coming. But they're also telling you that behind the scenes, they know something. They know something that's there. Now, you want to see something funny, by the way. You want to see something beautiful in this. So the Grifties. All right. Now I just did a video talking about, if you want to watch the video with the content for Herd winning, I'm not talking about Herd in this, by the way. I'm making my intro to this. I want you to understand. So the Grifty Awards. You've heard of the Grifties? If not, this is you and I voting on the biggest grifters of. And grifter doesn't necessarily have to be a negative term. Sometimes it's a like you call Ricada Law, lovingly a grifter, or myself or whomever. I think it's funny to be voted into this stuff. In fact, if you want to vote me in, that's funny. I don't care. But when you bring up people like Herd, that's interesting. She won last year as the female grifter of the year. So it was the award she didn't want. I did a video on that. Like I said, the channel does they have a copyright blanket on that. That's not them picking and choosing and trying to strike or anything. They just have the copyright thing on, which I think hurts them. Actually, it keeps people from covering it. A lot of people won't cover it because of that, which keeps it from growing more. So maybe they should think about turning that off. But this year, if you look at the number one persona right now, look at who's taking AH's spot. Eliza Bleu so far. Repo Man, thanks for the 5. This is very messed up. I only look into video. But this is up there with that Twitch stream, Moist Critical. If you have time, please look it up. I'll look it up from the Moist Critical Twitch stream on that. I'll look it up then. I like Moist Critical's coverage of stuff. I think it's funny usually. Susan Dolan, thanks for the 3 and the thumbs up. Thank you for that too. Appreciate that. And Nancy, thanks for the 5. If you're worth $150K a time, they will spend years breaking you, getting you addicted, and won't care how difficult you are. Exactly. Again, you have to look at the mindset of the person. The mindset I'm talking about of a trafficker. Again, they see you like livestock to be changed. They see you as chattel, and as chattel or property. You've seen that the more money that something can make, and if you look at cattle, for example, the more money that something can make, it's not discarded, rather it's prized. So if something has the ability to make $150,000 a pop, which is unheard of, by the way. I mean, that sounds like some kind of movie thing. I mean, this was somebody that was advertising $500 a night, for their hookup. So yeah, 150,000 is very hard to believe in that situation. Even if we account for, everybody was laughing about it because I was like, well, that's 2015 money. If we account for inflation. It's actually $600 something. I looked it up. I was curious. I was like, how much money is that in today's dollar? I mean, if eggs cost $12 now too, you'd probably had hyperinflation on that, right? So, but still, it doesn't account for $150,000. That just doesn't even make sense. What's up, Warrior? Thanks for the 5. LOL. I keep answering you out loud. My family thinks I'm crazy. Tell them you're not crazy. Tell them you're that umbrella guy approved. It's okay. Hey, I am a mental health professional after all, so you're okay. You are not crazy. That is my technical on that. Now, on other things, maybe you're crazy with something else. Maybe you're diagnosable with something else. I should say it that way. But you're not diagnosable for that. I'm hanging out with Tug and friends. Indeed. Indeed. Repo Man, thanks for 2. Penguin Zero on YouTube. Yeah, I watch his. I'm actually subscribed to Penguin Zero. I was watching some of his. I was watching his advertiser like drop in because he made that freaking song video, which I thought it was funny. You know, I was thinking, don't you folks know he is mine now? But anyway, yeah, I actually watch his content there. I'll check it out though for sure. But yeah, I thought this was fascinating because out of the main, again, the newest nominees. So yeah, you of course are going to have like Quartering. He's going to get nominated every time, like Libs of TikTok and stuff, which are all funny games. You can put them on there. But as far as personas here, I think it's fascinating that Eliza Bleu has been upvoted and nominated more so far than Meghan Markle. I thought that was fascinating with this because again, you have the circles that would vote on this kind of stuff. They would indeed vote for a Meghan Markle, very much so. But just to see Eliza Bleu again, you see the names on here. You always have a Politico that's going to be in there. Many of them are going to come up. You're going to have some YouTubers. Some of them are serious. Some not. Hotep Jesus actually made it on the list. It's funny. But I mean, there's Ricada Law. Again, you're going to have people joking around, having fun, goofing off. But on top of that, you're going to have some of the more, Tim Pool was on there too. You're going to have, I keep saying Amber Heard 2.0. So if you think about this, look at the similarities here. Let's go through a few of them. I mean, just for real. Let's really look at this because that's not just a title thing. It's not a search. Like, and it goes further than the Elon Musk building you up. I mean, we're talking about somebody here that and it also goes past identity grifting. When I say that, using females or survivors and more, the potential for false allegations that was there. You saw it. I mean, you've seen it joked about. You've also seen the implied threat with the Andrew Tate statements. But on top of that, what I just watched with Hotep, geez, that felt. If somebody told me they wanted me to give money to charity, like robbing charity, robbing survivors, I'm that thing, therefore give me that money. It's like, wait a minute. Again, if I was running a stream, we were talking about something charitable and people were like, hey, why don't we give this, that, or that? Now, I don't typically we do give away some of our proceeds to charity every month, a certain amount of them. I don't do them hooked up through YouTube because I can't control that. I would rather do it in my own local communities around the areas I'm there. As I've said before, I would not do a charity stream because a charity stream would put a bullseye on the very places. I watched an entire channel fall by trying to do good deeds. Again, everybody brings up the kill stream thing way back when they did the Hill stream, and actually Ricada Law was part of that. They raise tens of thousands of dollars for charity, give it to St. Jude's. The mainstream media denounces them. How dare you? It's given back. And guess what? YouTube decided to use that controversy to take them down. So they tried to do something good. They tried to organize charitable live stream. That's why I don't like charitable live streams like that. I would rather take it. And I also, you know, I'm not going to give my money to the, just to be fucking frank about it, I'm not giving my money to CHLA. I'm going to give it to a hospital if I'm going to that's close to me. Or I'm going to give it to a local charity. I'm going to give it to a place around here that needs clothes or beds, or you know what I mean? Like you really change things by not giving it to organizations that they get huge overhead. You give it in your own communities to places that you know. You put that money in the hands of a place that will 100% use it. There are no, you know, there's no $1 million salary that's going to be paid out of it or anything. You know, or you put it into goods yourself. Like, hey, if a place needs beds, buy the beds yourself. Have them delivered. You know, find out what the need is. Make it happen yourself. You know, and that way, you know, every dollar that you give is spent. I think that's the way to go, personally. But let's see. Tickled turmoil potato. Thanks for the 5 there. Appreciate that. Critical hits. Indeed. I just think this is a fascinating conversation. I want to show you her account right now too. Since it's unblocked, it's another part of damage control as well. But I mean, if you look at it, okay, so you look at all of these items that have overlap. You have striking similarities to someone like a Herd. Very much so. And I think every one of these people, you've got to remember that the people like Blue, they're not particularly smart. They're not good at thinking out their grift. They didn't think it out beforehand. You know, she never had to put in the fact that she was a survivor. She could have just been an advocate. If she would have faked advocacy with groups and more, she could have worked her way right into that. She could have alluded to the fact that she was a survivor without ever putting any detail on record too. She could have alluded without ever saying the words. That would have still given her the same access. Again, for every one of these fakes that you see, I'm not saying everyone's fake. There are great organizations out there, but unfortunately, every time that we have this conversation is not about the good ones. It's about weeding out one of the bad ones. And that's where we seem to end up over and over again. And that's the true damage to all of this stuff. But look at the damage control. Now, this is funny too. So with Eliza, she actually, when she locked down her account, she went with I'm locking it down because, well, everything, I'm going to test to see if I lock down, been hearing about it. I'm going to try it out myself. Yeah, that's great and all. She said she's going to do that on the first. When she did that, that's when she decided to start scrubbing posts. You know, what's interesting too is that anything that she's posted on the day, okay, so look at these numbers here. Like, for example, on the second, she has 1, 2, 3. I hate the way Twitter does this crap. You know, 4. So she has 4 posts on the second that are popping up there, right? But if you look at her numbers, this is what I mean about her deleting and scrubbing content. So she had 4 posts. Yeah, you saw that clear as day. Second, you could tell that. Well, if you look at her numbers for those days, the second, look at how much content she has. -1. So like I said, that's at least we're talking 5 freaking tweets that were scrubbed that day, right when she logged down. That's the fascinating part about that, isn't it? Then again, you know, she didn't post. The next day, she scrubbed 18 off, and the next day, well, so she spent most of her time scrubbing off tweets that didn't really help her out. She used that to scrub over 24 tweets that she thought were probably damaging. Hey, beautifully, thanks for the 2. Love, man, analytical mind. Yeah, you know, I get irritated sometimes. I'll find that you'll hear it. I get mad sometimes. The Timcast thing irritates me quite a bit, actually, because Timcast has a big enough, like I was saying the other day with the Timcast thing, what really bothers me about Timcast And I mentioned this last night, but I want to make this make sense. If you don't know Tim Pool, he had on Eliza Bleu, built her up, and then he's played this game about, at first he played the game of, I don't know what's going on. He had a writer, though, that was embedded there. Then he tried to blame the quartering for, his, I was going to cover it, but then he deleted all of that. Then he ended up going on a blocking thing and all of that. Well, my problem with Tim Pool is, during the beer bug, he told people, regular people, like I'm talking about people like yourself that aren't on YouTube, you're not making any money or anything. But he said on social media, if you had a problem, you need to go from anonymous. You need to use your real name and your real face. You need to stand up and truly make a sacrifice. If you did, you've got to raise your voice. If you have a problem with what's going on, you have to sacrifice everything. If they told you, oh, you should have a shot or whatever, you can't give, you can't budge, because otherwise you're a fake. You're a fraud. You have to take a stand in your life if it costs you everything. Now, that mofo ain't going to stand up for you. He ain't going to stand up for you with nothing. He'd be like, yeah, Tim, I sacrificed everything. They fired me. You know what he's going to do? Silence crickets, because you don't matter. But he's talking about these ideological stance. Well, one of his stance is clear and objective reporting, calling out censorship and fraud. And yet here we are with crickets when it comes to, Eliza Bleu and Twitter and Elon Musk. He doesn't have a fucking thing to say. Why? Because he should grab the pom-poms and tweet. He should just be like, rah, rah, Elon, rah. It's so fucking ridiculous. It is. It's ridiculous. That's what bothers me with that. Again, I don't hold someone accountable for having a person on and not holding who they are. I don't really hold them accountable if they choose to stay out of drama. What I do, though, is he got into it. He decided to sound off on it. He decided he's taking plenty of super chats on it and stuff too. What a mess. The division and nastiness. It was just. Let me light my cigar here. Give me one second. I think it sounds like a flamethrower. Flamethrower on. But if you look at, the statements that came up since she's come back, what she was sharing behind the scenes, this was an attempt to redirect the conversation back to child exploitation, because it goes away from her. You can see all of this behind the scenes. Oh, look at my good deeds. Then you put this up. This is while she's under the lockdown. I love you all so much, of course, I love you all. I'm standing right here in pure love. You don't need to love me back. I'm not going anywhere. If you change your mind, I'll still be standing here in love. Yeah, right. What happened to I have no chill and I destroy my enemies? What happened to all that? I thought she had no chill. I thought she was a monster there. I thought that she took it all the way. What happened? I mean, I don't see that as standing in pure love when you ask questions, right? Yeah, Tug uses flamethrower. Yeah, that's what I play right after I play Cloud Goblin. That's part of the deck. I'm like, Tug plays Cloud Goblin. Tug plays flamethrower. Indeed. Repo Man, thanks for the 5. Like, I'm not voting for violence, but can I go Jay and Silent Bomb and them? So live after it. Indeed. But if you that's funny. If you look at this, like I said, it's a redirection attempt. Oh, look, we're talking about trafficking. We're talking about, this is when she's unlocked. Like, look at how fast she's been burying this. And she's trying to just dump tweet out for something, anything else. So you don't get a lot of blowback per tweet because they don't set that long, But she's like, I tracked the CSE problem on Twitter for years. In my wildest dream, I thought that they could have maybe consistently removed 57,000 child exploitation profiles a month. Twitter removed 404,000 in January 2023. It's a miracle. And it's like she's injecting herself into that again. She's making herself the savior of Twitter. She told us that problem was fixed already, too. That's what's fascinating. She did interviews saying that she helped fix this problem. Not that it was getting better, but the problem was fixed. And now, again, it's become I'm only going to talk about this. I'm going to reframe the conversation to try to get away from it. But that's not how it'll work. Like, if she wanted to do that, she should have ignored the initial thing. It's just like people keep bringing up Jack Murphy. Jack Murphy, he did the same thing to himself. If you don't know about Jack Murphy was one of those manosphere folks. He was also heavily promoted by Timcast. Timcast decided to ignore the conversation. But yeah, he had some real problems when stuff was dug into. He went against message. That was the thing. The hypocrisy ended up causing him true problems. What's up, Holy Ozone? Thanks for the 10. Speaking of trafficking, hope you're coming to Vegas, but I don't know about that. I don't know yet. The quartering as part of this stuff said, just no bullshit at all. All right, at all. I don't like to travel. I don't like to travel. And also, one of the reasons I stopped working with kid clients is because, again, I had heavy issues with secondhand trauma off of it. And what I mean by that is, it sounds like I don't want to detract from anybody when I say that. But what I mean is, you take on these things like, you can't be a stone wall anymore, for example, when a kid's talking to you about a problem, right? But on top of that, there are other problems too. Like, I get very paranoid when my kids aren't around. Like, I can't stand for them. There are only a few people that I trust there, because I know if somebody ever messes with my kids, I will put my doorbell reloads. I need to say it that way. I know this platform, so I'll say it that way every single time. But I don't travel much on that. I also don't like social the experience in that. I've never liked crowds. I don't enjoy it. In fact, if you look when I was at Matsuri, if you notice almost in every picture, unless we're on panel, you notice I'm wearing headphones because I don't like the sound. Now, at the same time, I like to hang out with Camelot, and Nick, and everybody else. I also don't party or anything very much anymore. Like, it's not good for my health. I say that as I smoke a cigar, but that's a thing I don't do all the time. But I've tried to give up drinking. Every now and then, like, I'll have a leisurely day where I drink some, but or I drink more. But by and large, I try to cut all that out, and it doesn't. Yeah, like, everybody's going out to. Have you ever been the sober person with a lot of drunk folks? Like, it's not fun for for the people out there that are just out of control. So I don't know, but I love Emily. I mean, I love the dude. He's funny, great. Nick's good people. I love him too. I mean, again, you can tell who I like. I live stream with them and stuff. So I'll probably go to a couple of events this year. I don't know what yet, but I don't know if it'll be Vegas, especially after the health thing came up too. So I don't know. Justin, thanks for the 10 there. I expect an email or something from YouTube too. All of my channel views got halted again. Same thing happened today. The privacy violations got sent out. Something weird is going on. Yes, the algorithm they've been doing something with the algorithm lately anyway. It's been nasty. It's been very nasty, Kids are the worst. Nah, man. Like me, before kids, I was out of control. Like, I was fucking crazy out of control. You know, I had addiction problems, but I mean, I lived out of control. Like I did, you know, from turning an adult then, like I made sure I lived. I made sure I lived like a lot. My kids were probably, they centered me in that. And, you know, not only that, but it's a strange thing to try to describe to people who don't have kids, because you can't imagine something caring for you in the way that a kid can. Yes, they are work, but man, like a kid, there's nothing comparable to a kid, because like oh man, you see this human being, you know, they're before born, you see them born, you walk all the way through it, you guide them into being little human beings. And like I said, there's not anything comparable. I know that's cliche, man. I used to be like, man, fuck, that's stupid stuff, but it's very true. How many am I puffing? No, I've just got one here right now. I just lit it back up. It went out when I was when I lit it up. You know, I've got if I set it down for too long, you know, it fucking goes out, so I have to keep it going. No, I keep it one, and sometimes it'll set over here because normally I only keep it for the live stream. It's just it's a live streaming habit. It's a habit that it'll get broken soon enough because well, I'll run out when I have to re-up. I won't care. I had one yesterday. Yeah, it's the same one actually. I had yesterday. You know, it's the same one from yesterday. It makes it through. Man, these things will burn forever. If you get those big long ones, you know. Let's see. Soggy, what's up? Thanks for the 279. Come to my barbecue tug. Quiet times indeed. That's the way I need to go. Rosary, thanks for the 10 there. Just happy Sunday tip. Thanks for keeping us together. I too am not a big socialized with large or unknown groups. I'm grateful for the groups I found online. Yeah, I like hanging out online. I think it's fun there, you know. Re-up shows your past. Yeah, indeed. Maybe it shows outdated lingo too. Yeah, I was listening to the conversation on Ricada Law's channel. You know, we're talking to Camelot about substance pass. I was like, my God, you know, the stories. The stories. But anyway, I just think this is a fascinating topic that we have going on here, though. Again, we have people. When I look at stuff, I'm not saying people have to be an open book online. In fact, I don't believe that at all. I believe that you can be anonymous, never talk about yourself. You can reveal X amount. You can reveal more. The problem is, again, and I don't even know if I necessarily care that this person, if they were just a liar by themselves without the advocacy part. Like if they were just a fucking liar, well, hey, you know. Would it disappoint people? Yeah, but when they get so big and they claim they're doing advocacy for other people, that's a problem. The response when people, again, it wasn't even about a lie when the question came up. The question that came up was, how does this fit? How does your past life that you had there, how does that fit in with your advocacy? How does that fit in with stuff? How does that fit in with your story too? Were you coerced? What? I mean, it's a question. But because of that question, Brittany Vinny asked something that somebody did not want asked whatsoever. I thought this was funny too, by the way. So Ricardo was like, "Hey, did you know that that Eliza Bleu follows me?" I say, "Holy shit, that's hilarious! That's hilarious." I guess she hasn't denounced the head grifter yet. She's probably still trying to learn some left lessons. She's like, how did he get so big? Let me get my grift to that level. Oh yeah, I want to cover the quartering stuff for the Tim Pool thing too. I thought that was really funny. So the Tim Pool, now he's been lately like, okay, I'm gonna lay off. I'm gonna lay off. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. I have no idea. He's been asking too. He did ask a good question. All right, he said Eliza Bleu has made her thing public again. Give me a second here. So Eliza Bleu, made her account public again. One internet hug for each tweet that you find that has been deleted. Now I'm curious. I will be checking this thread because I do want to see what is being scrubbed. I would like to know because I wonder, the true answer. The true answer to all of this. Again, we're not talking 1 or 2 tweets here. We're talking about minimum 18 tweets that were deleted on that. And again, we know there were 24 minimum that were deleted because on the second, again, she was posting and yet she shows negative. So that means she scrubbed a bunch of them that day too. So again, minimums. She scrubbed 24. I'm curious what they are. Now, I know that there's somebody out there that they're like, ooh, some people, I know a couple of people online that, they have photographic memories. They remember everything. So they can bring up details and, oh my goodness, it's something. And I'm curious what's going to be found out in that. But the Tim Pool thing from yesterday here, actually, let me roll back into that. I thought it was funny watching the fallout yesterday, especially. He took down a couple of things, I think. Let me see. Did he take down that one post? Yeah, he took down a couple of them. I did like this, though. So, the Jack Murphy, you had the Jack Murphy beard. It's been put on Eliza Bleu. Well, this post was actually pretty funny, I thought. It's the Jack Murphy beanie. Oh my God. Now that is pretty funny, you gotta admit. He's also put up the Will Smith slap. He had instead of himself as Will Smith, he had himself as Tim Pool getting the old slap too. I don't see that on this timeline. Maybe he pulled that down as well. But he was talking about now Cassandra McDonald. He brought up that would be Cassandra Rules. That would be the booker of Timcast. There was a conversation that came up, and I need to look at this more because Cassandra apparently has I guess, how do we say, an adult background, which, like I said, I don't care about that. What I care about is apparently she's gone after and shut people down, had them. That's what a Star Wars girl was talking about. I think it was either Star Wars girl or somebody else that was saying, hey, this person has actually shut people down in the same way when they were asked about anything regarding background. Like they've gone out of their way to censor and shut people down and just embrace it. Who gives a shit? Like you're a public person. Like when somebody finds that piece of the puzzle about you, they found out that you were in this using your own name, I guess, then, or your name's easily searched because that's there. Why? The censorship, the idea of censoring that just doesn't work. That doesn't work at all. Like you should embrace it. You very much should, because all of it makes you. It doesn't detract from the conversation about whether or not you could be an advocate or anything else. And also, we do this thing as we age, we grow as human beings, and we may see the social ills in something that we didn't see before. And again, I don't care what somebody's background is like that. I just don't. But I mean, you do find like like he was bringing up. But there's actually a few things that have been scrubbed out of that. It looks like, maybe he's trying to cut down on his talking about that whole thing that's going on there. But Timcast, what was being utilized in this, as the quartering notes, is this notion that the quartering's followers were going after Tim Pool and trying to bully and browbeat them. And it's not true. That's actually not true in any way, shape, or form. You may have some people that follow the quartering that were giving blowback, but Tim Pool's viewers were there and they were super chatting him to try to get, he was making bank. I mean, he makes bank off of this stuff. And first of all, let me say this pisses me off. Okay. I hope if I get to the point where I don't feel that I should read, now I'll miss a super chat. That's a difference. Okay. If I miss super chats, I miss them. That's an accident. But the beanie only reads about 10. And there's always the, well. You can only do so much there. He has 40,000 people, maybe. Holy shit, during the herd trial. I mean, it had a day when there was 62,000 people, I think, that watched something. It's the biggest thing I've ever. I was like, holy crap. Yeah, it took me 4 hours to go through the super chats, but damn straight, I'm gonna go through every one of them because people paid to ask something, and you fucking show respect, because you know what? People can easily tune out. And I hate the idea that people, they ask a question. That's the way it's framed oftentimes. People are asking a question and they're not getting any response. I've never understood that mindset. Yes, it's more work. It's a lot more work, but people are paying you for that work. I mean, they're raining money. Man, what a problem to have, right? People raining money on you. What a fucking problem to have. If I ever get to that point, you definitely, I know you wouldn't need permission anyway, but definitely have my permission to be like, what the fuck, dude? You got people giving money and you refuse to even, to read off a couple of things. I mean, that's crazy. I can't stand that idea. Give me 1 minute. And it's the difference. We're not talking about support chat. Like, hey, I want to do this or that, hey, let me back the channel here. I try to also read off membership. Now, memberships are different because memberships, they only stay on the tab for a hot minute, and there's no way to track them back easily. They haven't ever gotten that thing together. So it does cause a problem. If I miss it, especially if somebody gifts memberships, there's no way for me to track it back easily. So, but I mean, I saw one stream where they're like hundreds of dollars, there's thousands of dollars sitting across the top of one, 50 gifted memberships here, 25 there. And it was no big deal. I was like, my God, if you ever get to that point, then you probably have too much money. Maybe that's the answer. So beautifully. Thanks for the two. Was there Utopia? Sus enough? Or Utopia? Oh, yeah. I mean, that's definitely that Utopia statement. That should have, if they wanted to do in Yul Roth with the statement that he made, because he was talking about, it definitely looked like him trying to support underage sexual activity. That's the way it was framed anyway. I never did all the background research because all those people were scumbags for their own reasons. Yul Roth did some fucked up stuff. I would say that our new trust and safety head is even worse with Twitter in a lot of ways because of their actions, because they're thin-skinned as they are. When Yul Roth, people would go after him all the time, but when they went after him, because he quit Elon Musk. That's why Elon didn't. He left him in the lurch, as it were. He made it pretty apparent why, so they went after him. And again, his statements. I saw his statement, and it talked about, again, kind of, it looked like, again, it looked like at least semi-advocating for adult and underage relationships. And again, if that is a heel that Elon Musk and Eliza Bleu attacked for, then this conversation is a bad one.
Certainly acknowledge that there are many people who are, 13, 14, 15 that have sex with an adult and then feel as if they were taken advantage of too.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so let's focus on the worst.
Yeah,
okay, so let's pretend like we all have our like utopia. So if I could answer this in utopia, right? In my like perfect NCAP utopia, each community and each so it'd be each caregiver, parent, and community, including teachers, potential faith leaders, and neighbors, will decide if the child is ready to consent and look at the child's behavior. Do they have a job? How is their education going? Are they cognitively available to have sex with this individual? And then also look at the history of the individual as well. So does this individual have a history of abuse? And then you go from there.
So again, I mean, you see that conversation. It's very much about, it's about somebody who portrays themselves. And, like, she's been asked this many times too. What the fuck does that mean? I would love, hey, Eliza Bleu, you want to do an interview? We do an interview. I'll ask you stuff like this, though. I saw how she treated that, Katie Herzog. Oh, we wouldn't play like that. You start yelling at me, that's fine. I'd still get my question in. You probably rage quit my my live stream. I wouldn't have to yell at you. I wouldn't have to do anything like that. I would ask you real questions. I wouldn't softball it. That's also why people like that won't come on your live stream. I would think that, if Timmy wanted her on, he could probably get her on again. I mean, again, she felt compelled enough to defend the writer of her article that's coming out of Timcast. I think that actually has a suggestion about what's coming. So I don't know. But anyway, I think this is a deep enough rabbit hole today. I think I'm done for today. Let me make sure. Missing super chat. Let me check real fast. Rolling back. Give me a second. The twos, especially, like Twitter should pin every super chat that comes through. They should pin $1, $100, whatever. They should at least make it where you see them come up. But the twos, they just roll through the chat. And I appreciate all of them. I want them to pin them all, so I notice them. So let's see. Let me look real fast. I had 2012 mentioned. Thanks for the two. Did you see the DMs? I gave you the Fred Durst one. Yeah, I've seen some. Twitter's been weird about messaging too. Like I have people message me new stuff. My DMs, unlike a lot of people, my DMs are open. I've left them open since the depth trial. So if something comes up now, I usually see what people message. If I don't, Twitter can be weird about it. And there's only so much time in the day. But I do try to see everything that comes up. Eagle Rider, thanks for the tune. Tugs, where you missed my second super chat. Yeah, I see that one here. All I can say is this has been a really rough couple of weeks, but it has meant a lot to me that I'm not alone dealing with it. God bless Tugs Thugs. Indeed. I mean, like I said, Eagle Rider's dealt with a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of health problems. I get that. Like, one of the things that helps people is actually just feeling like there's people there for them. And that's one of the beautiful things about what we can do here, what we can accomplish online. I think sometimes you can accomplish more with live streams and allowing people to just come in and have fun, talk about issues and whatnot than some of these people have probably ever done as far as quote unquote advocacy in their lifetime. I see Susan Dillon. I don't know if I caught your thumbs up there, but if I didn't, thank you for the 3 and thank you for the thumbs up too. 1 second, I'm almost rolled through. Oh, so another one come in. 1 second. Hey, Repo Man, thanks for 5. Check the thing. Young man, I'm thinking same age, or I don't know, 30. Mention a young man, I think same age. I don't know. I'll like I said, I'm gonna look at what's up with Penguin Zero and see what's up with all of that. You know, Trina, I tried to message you, but now it says haven't read. Well, just bump. If it says not sent, then Twitter didn't send it through. Just copy the message that's there. If it says not sent, send it back again. You know, until it says sent beside it. Just copy and paste it back in. Barbie World, thanks for 2. How are you feeling, Tug? I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm feeling all right. You know, I'm trying stress management a little bit better. You know, stress management isn't this stuff, you know. Stress management, by the way, I enjoy this stuff. Like there's no stress in doing all of this. I think live streaming is fun. If you get heated about something or anything, it's not stressful or, you know, health impactful either, I don't think. Like I said, I think this kind of stuff is I look at it solving puzzles. You know, it's a human element puzzle. Eric White, thanks for 3 months there. PayPal Jar Tug had a question for you. Thank you either way. Oh, let me look. Sorry, I should have looked there too. It's my bad. Give me 1 second. Let me see. I see a 10. I mean, that one does not have a question attached to it. I don't see one that's come through yet, you know? Defango. Man, I like Defango, by the way. If you haven't watched his channel, you definitely should keep up with it too. Hi, Sandy. Thanks for the 5. Did I try the dill pickled taffy yet? No, I have not yet. By the way, I have to give love here. So Sandy sent over like a box of like cool stuff. Like anybody, we do have a PO box. By the way, it's PO box 257. Think like a firearm 357 minus 100. So 257, McMinnville, Tennessee 37111. Very easy to remember. Wah. But yeah, she sent over a box. I've had some cool stuff in it, like car coasters with like nays, a little keychain with the nay on it. It had a good time too. You know, some stuff like the kids get best. I mean, just cool stuff. It was very appreciated. I thought it was really fun. Pandora Fox, thanks for the 2 there to our 2-month anniversary. Sending love to all. Hope you're feeling better. Indeed. Thank you. Yeah, loved everyone for sure. David, thanks for the 10. Hey, Tug, man. Got to say, love your content. I look forward to it at the end of the day. Please keep it up. Do you folks like the live stream? I've been doing more live streams here. I've been trying to keep them to yesterday I failed at this miserably, but I've been trying to keep them at around 2 hours or just a little bit over. A lot of them have been going about 1 hour and 30 minutes. So I wonder, like, I've been leaving them up. It hasn't hurt numbers at all for stuff. Like I said, I think it's been fun. Elusive Red, thanks for the 2 months there too. Hey, Tug, on the topic of fans, there's a family of pickles in your DMs. Seriously though, family of pickles. I mean, I think the live streams, I've been, you love a Tug ramble. Yeah, I like to sit around and talk about, just, you know, randomly talk about stuff and goof off. But for the purposes of this, I'm gonna go off topic during things for sure, but I've been trying to stay at least remotely on topic as we discuss the issue at hand. I've been working on that a little bit more, you know, instead of going way off in the weeds. Hey, John, thanks for the 10 there. I've lost some respect for Tim Pool lately, but I'm still sub to him. At one point in time, he and Frey were the only ones asking pertinent questions about the beer flu. I still respect that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not telling anybody to sub or unsub from someone either. I wonder how to say this. I'll just be blunt about it. I don't respect Tim Pool. I don't like him. I think he's I think he encourages people to do terrible fucking things that may cost you everything in your life. That really, really stuck with me badly. Again, I understand. Like, if you had a problem with, not even getting into that issue, just saying, if you're talking about how you want more information about the beer bug, or say you opposed measures with shots or anything else, encouraging people to go and to vocalize all of this stuff at the moment where it could cost you everything in your life, or telling you that you're a fraud if you don't make that mistake, man, fuck a person like that. You can't, like, these ultimatums, you're living way above the every person in that. Like, it's easy to look down and to say, hey, other people need to, to die on this altar here. And it really will cost people everything. Like, you have to be very careful about that kind of stuff, because people will listen to you. People who respect your opinion, they will sacrifice everything in some instances. And that should be a burden in its own way that you carry in a certain way, because everything that you can do, once you get to a certain level, everything that you do can have an impact. You can impact people in a positive way. You can impact people in a negative way. And again, just telling regular folks to throw their fucking lives away, or their fakes, when these fake, they don't believe in those standards. They don't hold themselves to that standard. Yeah, they've talked about important topics, but at the same time, man, like I said, I don't. There's been some other issues too with that, 100K Hitman, thanks for 2. Adds tips to the comments. Let me check something real fast. There's been a lot of interesting stuff people have been disclosing about Eliza Bleu over in what's up, M4A now? Thanks for the 2 months there. YouTube doesn't allow membership gifts from Android. Please call Susan. Yeah, I'm gonna call her right up. I've got it here on speed dial. I'm gonna call her up and be like, yo, Susan, how do I fix this issue? I'll get right on that. That is dumb though, isn't it? Jody, thanks for the 5 months there. Appreciate you, Tug, and all you do. Hey, thank you. Like I said, I appreciate y'all. You're the channel. Like, the person that comes out here and speaks, they're the voice of a channel. But the people who are the channel are the people who show up. So, like I said, thank you all. Ben, thanks for the 5 months. Love you, Tug. Fell completely in love with your live streams. Giving the Albertini crazy phone call. I'm not always in the chat, but I'm always listening. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, that was one of my favorite live streams I ever had. Yeah. Justin, thanks for the 10. Thank you for leaving live streams up recently. My average work schedule means I miss out. Consequences being a trucker. Yes, indeed. Awake due to being begged to cover a delivery to PA to Wisconsin. Oh, that's grueling. Well, I hope you're safe there. And yeah, for the longest time, when in the heights of the AH stuff, again, I had started leaving up live streams somewhat during right after the coverage there. Remember Boozy, when he dropped his little report, he actively encouraged flagging live streams. That was his point there. So, that was a reason to take them down. And it was over like innocuous stuff. Now, some people never have a problem with live stream ever, but I've had them in the past. I don't think I'll have them. I don't think that flagging is easy now. We'll see. We'll see what these folks do. I also wanted to do a little test to see So after that barrage of privacy complaints came in, they haven't come back and hit people again that I know of. You know, I actually did a test. I put some of the same shit up there. Like I showcased that tweet. I was like, yo, this is right here. I'm not afraid of these people, you know, threatening us in any way, shape, or form. But what they came after them, you know, they went after a bunch of people. Well, let's see what they do. You know, so far they haven't had the gall to do it yet. Rochelle, thanks not for the Rochelle, not Raquel, rather. Thanks for the 10 there. Hey, Tug, glad you're better. Big bear hugs and much love, fam. I hope you're doing well, Tug, because I know you'll ask. I'm doing well, rather. I know you'll ask just listening to you talk while painting as usual. Well, like I said, I'm glad that you're doing better too. Yeah, you know, if I get to know your name, especially been around, like I do wonder. And I know that this stuff, it gives everybody a time to come together and just goof off and talk about these weird things that go on. I do want to cover tomorrow. We'll see how it goes, let me say. But there's been the Camille Vasquez thing did not end. You know, there were more articles that went after her after her hiring. Like, it's been a concerted effort to do damage to her, and it hasn't stopped. You've also had, again, the overt targeting of witnesses from the JD trial. I mean, there's just crazy things in the aftermath, running people off Twitter. I mean, that's nuts. So there are a few things that need to be discussed for sure. It's just, you know, working them in and making them work, especially with the blue stuff, like just the level of it. When it was taking an hour and a half to go through the stuff, I was like, oh my God. But anyway, all right, well, I'm out of here. I'm done. I appreciate you, vote. 1,300 of you stuck around while we went through and talked. I appreciate it. But they've been fun. I've been having a good time. So anyway, appreciate you. See ya.